What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Flipping the Right Way. Today we're going to be talking about taking seller lead calls. So once you send out the marketing, once you get the phone ringing, kind of what questions to ask, what things you should be looking for, just kind of getting comfortable taking seller lead calls. So there's a few things on the front end that you have to be cautious of. Basically how you take the leads is always a big question. So the way we do it, and I'm gonna give you other options as well, during business hours, we take them live in the office. So once we send out marketing, the calls ring directly into our office phone line, and we take them live on the spot. So once we're out of the office or on the weekend, we push them to a call center business, which answers the phones live as well, but it's not anybody from Right Property Group. They have very small information about us. We're real estate developers, investors, and they have a list of questions that they need to ask the people, and then we get an email as soon as that phone call is done with the answers to those questions. So we take them live in the office, and then when we're not there, a call center person takes them live, and then we get an email with the answers. A couple other ways of doing it. When I first started, I actually carried a second cell phone around on me, and I had the calls ring to that second cell phone. The catch with that is when you're like me, I was still working another job. So when I started, so when the phone would ring, I'd be at my other job, I couldn't answer it. Or if you're out already on an appointment with the seller and the phone rings with another seller, you still can't answer it. So there's benefits and downfalls to it. But one, you can have a ring you directly, your cell phone. You can have a ring into the office. You can have a call center answer the calls live. You can actually have every call go directly to a voicemail, and then the voicemail you're recording would say, hey, thanks for calling. This is what we do, this is who we are. If you're interested in selling the property, give us the name, email, address, blah, 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 we'll call you back. So you can force them directly to voicemail, which I know some people do, or you can hire a virtual assistant. You can hire somebody virtually that answers every call that comes in, and then they can actually do the negotiation for you as well. So I've personally never done that, but I know a lot of people who are extremely successful having a VA handle all the calls for them. If you are to do that, if you were to go down that route, you probably want to take a bunch of calls with them listening in, and or record your phone calls, and then you can send them to them for them to listen to, so they can kind of see how you talk, how you negotiate, what questions you ask. So there's definitely going to be a learning curve for them to do that. But the guys that I know that are using VAs they're killing it. You just got to get them taught up on the business and ready to go. So those are the different ways that you can have the calls come into you. And all of our marketing has as many ways as possible for people to get in contact with us. So we have emails, we have websites, we have phone numbers. So we want to get them as many ways to call us, email us, whatever, just any way possible to get them to us. So then you send out all this marketing, and then the phone starts ringing. First time, you're extremely nervous. You have no idea what to say. When I took my first phone call, I was literally sitting there shaking. Like, hello? Didn't know what to say. Had no clue. But it's something you just get used to over time. So the only way to get over that is to actually take the phone call. So get the phone ringing, take the calls, screw up the first few phone calls, or do fantastic on the first few phone calls. But as soon as you hang up the phone, sit there like, all right, this is the question I asked. This didn't go over well. Let me change the question a little bit next time. So every phone call you got to learn from the last and make the next one better. So then that's how you start closing deals. So you just got to get comfortable taking the calls. That's the biggest thing. And the only way to get comfortable is to take the phone calls. That's it. So that's kind of how to get started. Over time, you'll learn the market. So like I know every zip code, almost every street in our target market. So when people call in, like I know what the values are as soon as they give me the address and the zip code. So I had no idea how to do that at the beginning. But the more phone calls you take, the more comps you run, the more ARVs you pull, the more you're going to learn neighborhoods, you're going to learn areas, you're going to learn street corners. So over time, you'll become a lot better with that, and you can do it a lot quicker. It's just something that takes practice, it takes time. You got to do it many times over. And I have a big old huge map in my office with all the zip codes and streets and everything, so I can look at that as well to help myself kind of understand where the house is located at. So that's going to lead into the calls. Once the phone call rings, I'm going to kind of give you a couple role play options to get you through that first phone call. So the first thing that when it comes in, you have to do, we always answer like, hello, this is Right Property Group, this is Austin, how may I help you? And then they'll call in and say, hey, I got a letter, or I want to sell a house, or never call me again. If it's the latter, never call me again, I say, great, sorry for the inconvenience. What's the address so I can take you off the list? And I take the address down, delete them off the list, don't send them anymore. If they say, hey, I got a letter, be like, great, is this something you're interested in? Are you looking to sell a property? And then you go into the flow. Or if they say, hey, I got a letter, I want to sell my house, great. So I get the address, you got to get the property address, you got to get their name, their phone number, their email, and then after that, I'll be like, hey, just tell you a little bit more about our company. We're here local to Columbus, buy a variety of homes, blah, 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 blah. Our goal is just to help you, so we just need a little information so we can give you the best solution possible. So if you don't mind, just going into some details about the home, the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, just kind of get them talking. So they'll start talking about the home. They'll say, hey, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath. It's got a nice living room. We just redid the kitchen. So just get them talking about the house. So then once they tell you what they know about the house, there's a few things that I always ask, like what's the age of the roof, the furnace, has the kitchens and bathrooms been updated? Because if the roof's old, the furnace is old, the kitchen's old, and the bath's old, I mean, that's a big rehab. So that tells me right now, like I'm going in and I'm dumping a lot of money. If they say, hey, the roof's new, the kitchen's new, not the kitchen, the roof's new, the furnace is new, the windows are new, just needs some paint and carpet, I assume it needs a new kitchen, cosmetic, new bathroom, cosmetic, paint, carpet. It's a very easy rehab, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 rehab. So those are my kind of keys and kickers when I'm asking people these questions. I want to know about the roof, the furnace, the windows, the kitchen and bath, because that'll tell me mostly everything else I need to know. If you have someone that's extremely loves to talk and everything, you can ask more details. You can be like, well, has the electric been updated? Has the plumbing been updated? Has the HVAC been updated? So you can ask more questions. Some people don't want to give out a lot of information. So I just get down right to what I need to know to understand. So then once you know more about the house, if they have a garage, like downtown, we need to know if it has a garage or not, because that's a huge value add. So they say, hey, do you have a garage? And while I'm doing this, once you get better on the phone, you already know kind of what your next questions are. So I actually pull it up on Google Earth. So while they're telling me about the house, I'm sitting here looking at Google Earth, going down the alley, going in front, looking at the house. So I say, hey, this porch over here is falling in. Like, has that been corrected? No, it's still collapsing. Be like, great, it's a 1-car garage in the back. Is that still standing? Yep, it's still there, still works, has electric to it. So once you get better at it, you can jump online immediately while you're taking the call and see exactly what they're talking about. So once you do that, rewind. Before I do any of that, after I get their name, phone number, and address, I ask them, is the home listed with a realtor? If it's listed with a realtor, then I'll be like, great, can I have your realtor's contact information, because I'll speak with them directly. So I'll go directly to the realtor if it's listed with the realtor. I don't want to cross any strings or upset anybody, so I'll talk directly with the realtor. If they say no, then I'll go in and ask them a little bit about the home. So then once they tell you about the home, I always say, so why are you looking to sell? And then they'll tell you. They'll say, I'm in a divorce, I'm bankrupt, I'm in foreclosure, I just inherited the house, I live in California and I want to sell my house in Ohio. So just be very direct with that question. Why do you want to sell your house? And then they'll tell you. So write that down, why they want to sell it. That's their pain point. So remember that during the conversation, and you can reference back to it. If they ask for too much money or something like that, you can be like, hey, you're in foreclosure, you kind of have to sell this in the next 30 days. Just something you can remind them about. And then I ask how quickly they're looking to sell. So I say, is this something you're looking to take care of next week? Or is this something you're looking at selling 2, 3, 4 months down the road? Then they'll answer that question. Great, perfect. So then you got to find out what liens are on the house. So I always say, hey, do you have any current mortgages, back taxes, liens on the property? Sometimes they'll say, no, it's free and clear. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, you know, I owe $20,000 in back taxes, or yeah, I got a mortgage. If they say a mortgage, I say, okay, how much do you owe on the mortgage? Some people will say exactly what they owe. Some people will be like, well, that's not relevant information. So if they're not in foreclosure, I don't push the envelope on that. If they're in foreclosure, I need to know how much they owe, because I mean, we gotta solve this problem quickly. If they're in foreclosure, the house is on the sheriff's sale in 2 weeks. I gotta know all these numbers, and I'll tell them that. So if they say, you know, I don't want to tell you, be like, you know, your home's in foreclosure. Like, I'm trying to help you, but I need to know this information. But so if they say they're not in any hurry, they inherited the house or something, and they don't want to tell me the mortgage, like, I'll ask again. But if they really don't want to tell me, I'm going to continue on with the conversation. So you got to know any liens, mortgages, back taxes. You got to figure that out on the house. And then again, you got to be very direct. You say, so what are you looking to sell the home for? Some people tell you right off the bat. They'll be like, I want $100,000, that's what I like. I like someone who can tell me exactly what they want. Others will be like, well, you send me a letter, you tell me, or I don't know, I haven't looked at the market, or I don't know, I'm looking for the best offer. When they try to beat around the bush like that, I just ask them, I'm like, all right, well, like, when I do my research on the home, I need to know a ballpark. Are you looking for 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand? So they'll tell you, usually they'll answer that question, you know, like 100 to 150 or something like that. So now you have a base point to start with. So some people be like, I don't know, you tell me. And I'll ask them again, they'll be like, I don't know, you tell me. So there's two ways to handle this. One, you can just move on with the conversation, go to the next question. Or two, you can say, you know, Mr. Seller, I really want to help you, but I'm a very busy guy. I'm sure just like you are. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste mine. So I need to know kind of what you're looking for, because if we're way off mark, I don't want to waste my time calling you, coming out, meeting you at the house, and wasting everybody's time. I'm a very serious buyer. I'm very serious about the business. I just need to know what you're looking for. So you can handle that one of two ways. You get the answer, and then you move on. So they say, all right, cool, I want 100 grand. Great, is that price flexible at all? Yeah, it's, you know, a little bit. So that now you know they'll come down a little bit. Or they'll say, no, this is it, 100%, no questions asked. So you ask, is that price flexible at all? And then you can do another follow-up with them. Excuse me. Do another follow-up with them. You know, if I could close with cash in 15 days, you don't have to pay any commissions, any real estate. You'll have your money in 15 days, no questions asked. What's the best price you can do? Let me say, oh man, if you can do it that quick, like I'll take 80 or 90,000. So now you just drop 10, 20 grand off that price. So follow-up is one, is it flexible? Follow-up two is if I can close with cash in 15 days, no contingency, or if you want a contingency, what's the best you can do for me? So then you get down to the real life bottom line number. So then once all that's done, that's usually all the information that I get on the initial phone call. And by that point, I already know the area, I know the neighborhood, I know what they want, I know how motivated they are, I know the price point they're looking for. I can tell right then if I'm gonna set an appointment with them or not. So at the beginning, I couldn't. So I'd be like, one more question before that. The last question I asked, you know, are you just starting the sales process? Am I the first person you talk to, or do you have any other offers on the table? Most of the time they're gonna say you're the first you're the first person I've talked to. If they say, yeah, you know, I talked with two other guys, someone came out to see the house yesterday, someone's coming to see the house tomorrow, I get as much information as I can on that. I even ask who they are, because I know a lot of my competitors in the area. I'll be like, well, who you meet with? What's the name? What's the company name? What's the individual name? Have they made an offer? If they have made an offer, I get what the offer is. I see what contingencies they have. I see if it's a wholesaler, if someone's buying it directly, if they have an inspection contingency, an attorney contingency. So I get as much information about those offers as possible, because when we go in and make offers, ours are very cut and clean. We make an offer for 50 grand, you're walking away from the table with $50,000, no questions asked. So I get as much information as you can as possible, and that's definitely a question you need to ask. Because if someone said, if you don't ask that question and they have somebody else seeing the house tomorrow, and then you go see the house 2 days later, and that person tomorrow already got the house under contract, you're wasting your time. So it's absolutely a question you need to ask. And if they are seeing other people, I tell them, I'm like, you know, be cautious of this, be cautious of that. When I meet you, I'm going to make a very straightforward offer, and I'll actually try and be the first one to the meeting. So if you're really good at building rapport, like I want to be the first person you talk to. So I can go there. You're extremely good at building rapport. They really like you. They're drawn to you. They want to do business with you. You're very honest with them. You have a good possibility of locking that house up right there before anybody else comes and sees the home. So it's definitely a question you need to ask. And I always want to be the first person to the home to give them the first impression. So after that, that's the information I get. Like I said, now because I've been doing this for years, I already know if I'm going to set the appointment. I'll say, great, let's meet today at 2 o'clock. And another thing, when you set a meeting, don't say, when do you want to meet? Give them one or two options. You say, hey, I can meet you tonight at 2 o'clock, or I can meet you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. What works best for you? Because if you say, when are you available, you'll get 1,000 different answers and a bunch of excuses. So you got to be very direct. Say, hey, do you want to meet at 2 o'clock today, or 4 o'clock today, or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? I'm available both times, you tell me. So give them a time that they can meet you. And if you're not good at knowing the area right away, which majority of people aren't, once you get to this point, just say, hey, I greatly appreciate your time. You gave me a lot of information. It's been awesome. Let me jump online, do a little research, and then I'll get back to you within the next 24 hours. And when you hang up the phone, jump online, pull your comps, run your ARVs. You can do a rough repair budget just from asking questions about the home. So do a rough repair budget, put your numbers into your spreadsheet, and see what it comes out to. If it's close enough to be a deal, call them right back and say, hey, let's meet tonight at 2. Or if it's a little rougher, maybe not as close, still go meet them. Get the reps in, get used to meeting people, get used to talking with sellers. And if you're just way off, just call them back, like Mr. or Mrs. Seller. I took a look at the neighborhood. Most of these homes are selling for about $50,000. I know you wanted $100,000. So we're just going to be too far off at this point. If that's your bottom line, I don't want to waste your time. But I can't make the time to go out there. So take the offer off the table, and they'll be like, oh, I need to sell for $50,000 because I need to sell this because I'm in foreclosure and I'm going through a divorce. So if you take the offer off the table and remind them why they're looking to sell, what their pain point is, they may drop to where you need to be, and then set the appointment, obviously. So say, hey, I'm going to call you back. Look at it immediately. Get right back to them, because I've missed out on opportunities because I've taken 24 hours. I called them back the next day. They got another call that night. Somebody already met with them and put the house under contract. So real estate is a very time-sensitive thing. You want to be on it as quickly as possible, because there's a lot of other people out there trying to do the same thing, buy the same house. I've bought houses where the seller has got many letters after I already put it in contract and I've already closed. I've bought the house and I've got people's letters directed to the previous seller. So it's very, very time sensitive. You got to act as quickly as possible, or you're going to miss out on an opportunity. And real estate has a lot of profit in it. So you don't want to wait 2 hours to make a phone call and miss out on a $60,000 deal. So act as quickly as possible. So those are just some quick things about taking seller leads, kind of some follow-up questions. There's a million directions a call can go in, so it's something you're just going to have to get used to over time. But hopefully I kind of gave you some good questions to ask, some scripts, some questions, some follow-ups. Things like that to help you guys out. Just check on my notes, make sure there's nothing else I'm missing here. Yeah, so like I said, the key is the speed, the time, the quickness, the follow-up. You got to do it as quickly as possible. That's the only way you're going to be successful in this business. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out on a lot of opportunity that your competitors are going to be buying the houses and making the money on instead of you. So one other thing, when you talk with sellers, you'll read them right from the beginning. Some sellers want to talk just nonstop and stay on the phone with them and talk with them, and some sellers want to get right to the point. So once you start asking the first couple questions, you got to read that, because you can piss people off and they won't ever call you again. So if you get a seller that loves to talk and just tells you everything, tells you their life story, build that rapport with them. Ask all the questions, get as much detail as possible. On the flip side, if you get somebody that calls you and it's like, well, you sent me the letter. What do you want to sell? Well, you tell me. Just ask your 4 or 5 questions that you need to know, and then either set the appointment, call them back, or tell them it's no good. So the longer you stay on the phone with people that don't like talking to you and don't want to talk to you, the less likely you're going to get the deal. So if someone's like a very non-talker and very aggressive with me, I ask what their pain point is, why they want to sell. I'll ask what price they want to sell for, if they've talked to anybody else, and just tell me just a little bit about the home, just so I can get a very rough understanding of it. So, you know, is kitchens and bathrooms updated? No. Is the roof new? No. Boom. I already know it's going to be a bigger rehab. So tell me about the house. Why do you want to sell? Get their pain point. What do you want to sell for? How much? And have you talked to anybody else yet? So those are my 4 quick questions with those types of people. And then I'll either set the appointment then, or I'll say, hey, I'm going to call you back, or I'm going to be like, yo, you want a lot more than the home's worth. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to help you out. So again, hopefully that helped, pointed in the right direction, gave you some answers, some questions, some follow-ups, kind of a real life example of kind of how conversations go. So appreciate you guys taking a look at this. Again, if you go to www.flippingtherightway.com, flippingtherightway.com, there's a series of emails that I typed up, just giving a bunch of information on real estate, how to raise private money, how to market for deals, how to take seller phone calls, how to build a business, how to hire people. Just a bunch of great information. It's all free, 100% free. There's no catch to it. A couple ebooks I've written about some failures that I've had in the business that hopefully you don't have to do the same thing. So if you go there, www.flippingtherightway.com, just put in your email address, you'll get the ebooks, and then you'll get a bunch of emails over the next couple weeks, just giving you free, awesome education on real estate. So if you can check that out, put it in there, that'd be awesome. Share this video, I'd be incredibly grateful for that. And we'll see you again here on the next episode. Thanks, guys. Bye.